Okay, on screen, you can actually see we've got first we've got Loi Tzu. Loi Tzu, please say hi. And she's a
Hi
member of
everyone.
our NUSC admissions committee year AY 24-25. She's also a part of the team teaching science and society. She offers an elective course called where students will examine why quantitative measurements has become so central in modern life and what we gain and lose when we use such infrastructural tools. All right. And Eatus, if you'd like to know more about her, her research focuses on the history of science, medicine, and technology in the late 19th and 20th century China. And her current book is on the project examines the introduction of metric system in the modern China. So that's her. And on screen also, we've got Prof. Lo Man Hao, who is an associate prof at NUSC. He teaches thinking with writing classes on the topic of tourism and authenticity, and also offers making connection courses on nostalgia and Singapore art. So on the history of close reading and other methods of critique and on theories of gender. And he oversees the assessment of NUSC written application. So we've got two experts here on the interview and written. And of course, we have on screen Lavanya. Say hello. Lavanya is a year 2 chemical engineering and management undergrad student at NUS College. And she's an ambassador of ours and an active member of her house committee. And she's made contributions to the student life as vice head of the dance interest group, as well as through the NUS College Club. And Hazel's next. She will be speaking as well. And Hazel is a year 2 business administration student with a minor in French studies. So NUS College is an honors college of NUS, and we're the first honors college in Singapore. And we are fully integrated into the NUS ecosystem, and each year, we take about 6 to 7% of year 1 cohort across from NUS. So what does that mean? I'm going to explain a little bit more what it means. So as you can see on screen, there's a yellow bar chart that runs from year 1 to 4. That is where you will spend time, you will fulfill the requirements for your undergrad studies, which is your major. So like Hazel's a business student, and then Lavanya is from CDE. So that's where they will pursue the degree. And then followed by that, from year 1 to 4, you can see on screen, the light blue and the dark blue, that's where NUS College comes in. So you will be attending courses from us the day you start your undergrad studies till the time that you're ready to graduate, okay? So if you want to know more about these courses, please refer to our website. But this is how it looks like from a picture perspective. So we've got NUS College and the feeding colleges around us, and each of these colleges has got a certain number of majors that's compatible with us. So students are members of the schools, and then some of them will be with us, and that's how it feeds into NUS College. So mentioned, we are compatible with 61 majors actually, so it says more than 60. So here are the list of compatible majors. So that means if you're interested in pursuing any of these majors, you are eligible to apply at NUS to be our student. And do take note that actually we offer the flexibility to switch majors amongst most NUS offerings during a stipulated transfer window of the first 4th semester. Okay, so what do we offer? So compatible with 61 majors, and our student cohort makes up of 31 nationalities, and they came from about 210 schools. That's high school, polytechnics, and schools local and overseas. But do take note that as our student, all our students are required to complete this 2 years of residence for graduation. So that, and your first year is a must. So you will stay your first year, which is 2 semesters with us, and then you can complete the 3rd and the 4th thereafter at any time. All right. So because you will perhaps want to work in your SEP, which is exchange, or NOC into your 4-year journey at NUS. All right. So again, do take note that at NUS College, student enhance the NUS degree. So once again, you will be doing a degree and NUSC component. And this is through 3 segments: the curriculum, through experiential learning, and the community. So the curriculum, do take note that it is interdisciplinary. So that means you'll be doing both STEM and humanities classes with us. So this is what makes us unique. So on screen right now, I know there's a lot of information, particularly those who are new to our system. But just on screen, just remember, this is an example of a CHS student. 3 components, 3 colors: dark blue, which is the major, and then the yellow, which is the common curriculum, and the unrestricted, which is the light blue. So next, I'm going to show you some magic. Okay, on screen now, you see that orange portion? This is our NUS College curriculum. It takes about 35% of it if you're a CHS student. And this amount of courses that you need to take with us depends on the major. So it could be from 8 to about 14, depending on your major. All right. So once again, this is if you're not our student, and this is if you're a student of ours. So once again, you will not be doing anything more than the 40 courses to graduate from NUS with your degree and your NUS College program cert. All right. So these are the courses that we provide. For more information, I would suggest go to our website or request for, go to our website and go through the documents that we've got and what they are. But in a nutshell, on the left, the orange and the light blue, these are the foundational common courses that you have to do, all right? And here on the second segment on experiential learning, I would like to stress that our classes are held in seminar style. Okay, so, and typically 20 to 25, and we even have writing classes, which goes down to about 12 people in one class. So that is actually done, so small class size, very engaging, a lot of facilitation, a lot of ideas sharing around, and I think that the profs will be able to share a little bit on that later on. And also through experiential learning, that can be done through our impact experience. I'll talk about it then shortly, and global experiences, okay, project. So what we want to do is to provide you a holistic education that goes beyond the classroom. So this is an example of IEX, Impact Experience Project, which every student must do. You will spend up to 2 years working with a group of students, your choice, on the project of what you want to do, where you want to do. And basically these are in Asia. All right, so this particular group spending time in Thailand on banana chips, okay, helping to improve the organic farming methods, as well as in the end placing banana chips, the end product, onto the table, all right? And the GEX, so I talk about global experiences. What is it? So GEX is basically, in a nutshell, a 4 weeks program that's usually done, completed in summer. Look on the left of the screen. So these are the cities that we cover at the moment, and each city has got a theme behind it. So for example, if you're interested in technology, you may wish to apply to go to Beijing or even to Tokyo, for example. And if something that's if you are in the path of discovery, art and design is really not your normal thing. You may want to sign up for Bandung, Jakarta, or even Paris to learn about art, culture, diplomacy, social innovation, creative societies. So it depends on how you want to achieve that. Okay, so on the right, the top 2 buttons, bullets, we've got Sciences Po and Waseda. These are the 2 double degree programs that's offered only to NUS College students. So do take note, Sciences Po is the first 2 years. So year 1 and year 2, you will be staying in France to complete your program there. And then year 3 and year 4, you will come back to Singapore and complete your studies at FAS as well as NUS College. All right. For this particular program, you will need to apply at the time that you put in your NUS and NUSC application. All right, so bullet number 2, WASEDA. WASEDA, again, is another double degree program that we only offer to NUS College students. And this is where you spend 2 years, which is year 3 and year 5 in Tokyo, and the rest of the time, year 1, year 2, year 4, in Singapore at NUS College, as well as FAS, all right? And of course, we do have our very own exchange programs in addition to the exchange partners that partners with NUS. All right, so this is a quick look at the GX program. Left is at New York City 2 summers ago, and on the right is Japan. Also the same timeline, 2 years back. All right, so one thing I like to point out about experiential learning is that this is a global pathways is a requirement of NUS College. So if you don't complete this, you will not graduate from our program success. You will not graduate from our program. I'll put it that way. So what is this global pathways? It basically just means that we want you to go out of Singapore. Okay, so it's an overseas opportunity that can be achieved either from a regional impact experience, which I talked about. Remember the banana chips in Thailand. But do remember that impact experience, you can actually do projects based in Singapore as well. But if you are doing a regional, you would have fulfilled the global pathway requirement. But of course, some students may do a regional impact experience and then also sign up for a global experience, the GX, and trip in summer. And then, of course, if you're a double degree program, you definitely would have fulfilled this. And do take note, in case you know about NOC. Okay, so in short, NOC is internships with companies, with startups overseas. And at the same time, you will be pursuing classes in a partner university in that location. Okay, so where you can actually see on screen, it says Green Lane. Basically, Green Lane means our student will be presented to the startup at the final stage. So they do not go through any the further filtering and selection by my colleagues at the NUS Overseas College department. So that's an advantage because that's also because at admissions, we've already completed an interview. So therefore, our students will go directly to the end. Whereas if your class, your cohort mate from, let's say from the science faculty wants to apply for NOC as well, he or she being not an NUS College student, he or she will have to go through that selection process before meeting you at the last final stage for selection by the company. All right, so the third fun on the community. So like I mentioned earlier, very much earlier, there is the mandatory 2 years residential component that you must fulfill. If you don't, again, you don't graduate from us. All right, so, and who are they? Just remember 61 majors are compatible with this. So we're talking about students from different majors, different background, different training. And of course, here we have got some of our faculty members, and you can see Prof. Lavanya right at the bottom, on the bottom third from the left. Okay, so this is just to show you that we have a great diversity, fantastic faculty members in our program. And pastoral care, particularly if there are any parents on this call today, don't worry, we've got many layers of support system here. Of course, each of the college, that is the dormitory, we call it the college, the wing. We do have a master's, or if you can look at it as a principal of that building. And then they're supported by residential fellows who are primarily faculty members in NUS, and NUSC as well. And then over here, we've got 4 RSLM, we call it Residential Student Life Managers. They are staff members of the college who also live on board. So all these people here stay on board. And we do have RAs, which are actually students, senior students. And then we do have access to our services, professional services at the University Health Center. Okay. And student life, again, there's interaction between the students, the MCs on the right, who represent the students, and our student life team on the left. So again, a reminder, so what I want you to do at the end of this, if you're very new to the NUSC program, just remember, you will need to fulfill your undergrad studies, and our program will start the day that you start your UG program, and you'll end the time that you finish your year 4. Okay, and you do not need to take anything more than 40 courses to successfully graduate from NUS with your degree and our program. Okay, so yeah, these are the things, the factors that we are looking for, and I think I would like to emphasize that we're looking for applicants, students who are intellectually curious, okay, and globally oriented, and who want to make a lasting positive impact on the community around you. Right. So, yep. So I mentioned earlier, we do have essays. We do have interviews. So we're looking at it's a holistic process, and we're looking into the multi-facets of each of you. Okay. So on the application portion, it is the same application form, NUS application form. And you will, as you filled up the form, you'll come to a section called 2.1, and there's a short introduction of NUS College, and there's a little box at the bottom asking you if you'd like to apply. If you love to apply, and we really love to see you as well, do give it a tick, and then the next thing, the magic thing also appears on your screen, which is the written assessment. So I'm going to be speaking a little bit about that shortly. Okay, so you will need to complete your written assessments, and then and if you do that, your form will be sent to us for assessment, and then we will start our shortlisting, and then we might call you up through an email, of course. We might invite you for an interview, and do take note that this is the second year that we're running a face-to-face interview with our candidates on our campus. And then, but those of you who are not staying in Singapore, but if you love to fly in, I think we're happy to see you. Most delighted to have you on campus to see us. But for international candidates, it will be via Zoom. All right. So then that's why we make a decision. And quick one, I know this is something that some of you would be interested and thrilled to know, that we've got all types of scholarships. So there's NUS scholarship that's offered by the university. Here are just some of them. Just take note that international students look at the icon, the diamond icon. Okay, whereas the rest are actually open to Singaporeans and PR. Here, this is NUS College. So we do have our own scholarships as well. So do take note for the NUS College International Scholarships. There is a by invitation. All right, just take note of all those red text that we've got on the screen. And the very third type is actually offered by external organizations. So on there, you can actually see these. We do have financial aids as well. Yep, we are here to support you. So here, I think my colleagues will be sending the link to you on the application deadline. So A-levels is going to be open very soon, but the dates are not announced yet. But the rest of you besides NUS High School, the rest of you'll still have some time to catch up with your application, which will close sometime in February, depending on your qualifications. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to quickly run through the 2 essays and the declarations that we've got. And this is actually on the form. So like I mentioned, if you do click what I would like to apply with NUS College, this is what's going to happen. So the first one is 100-word, how NUS College fits into your plan for NUS. All right. And then the second one is very lengthy. I'm not going to be running through all the pages that I've got, but it is on a reflection on your non-academic activities. Do take note, 350 words. Okay. So I would suggest do it close to 350 words. Yeah, so I will actually at this point, okay, I'm just going to run through the last one, which is the declaration. So you have up to 350 words also, if you like. So with this, I'm actually going to invite Prof. Loh Man Hao to come back to talk about his point of view, because he is involved, he actually leads the written assessment segment from our end. Okay, Man Hao?
Sure. Thanks a lot, Winnie.
Pleasure.
Okay, so I know this is a lot of information for everyone, so let me maybe begin by just reiterating factually for our audience what are actually the two components of the written assessment that you would have to do. So the first part of the written assessment, which Winnie will hopefully put up, is a few slides before this one, simply asks you to talk about how you envision the NUSC curriculum fitting into your NUS education, right? So here I can maybe give a very specific tip, which is that we're really looking for an indication that you have intentionally given some thought to your forthcoming education, right? It's going to be an exciting time for you, but it's going to be a more productive time if you come into NUS with some kind of a plan, right? One way to think about your forthcoming education, if you're admitted into NUSC, is that you essentially will have kind of two jigsaw pieces, so to speak, right? One piece is going to be your undergraduate degree, which is usually completed in your major, but there's also, if you choose, also an NUSC component, right? So in this preliminary question, we're just really asking you to articulate how you see the two pieces fitting together, right? So for example, do you really want your major, do you see your major and your NUSC curriculum running in parallel, right? Or do you want them to intersect? If you want them to intersect, how do you want them to intersect, right? Or might it even be the case that you actually would like the two pieces to be in a kind of creative tension, which can sometimes be a good thing, right? So we are really just asking you, first of all, to kind of talk about how you see these two pieces fitting together. Now, alternatively, if you actually want to just concentrate and use your 100 words to talk more about the parts of the NUSC curriculum that are particularly attractive to you, that's also perfectly fine, right? So in the 100 words you have, which is not a lot, you can also just tell us, okay, are there particular features of the NUSC experience that are really attracted to and why? Okay. So that's really the first thing we'd like you to do, right? Now, the second thing, as Winnie mentioned, is a reflection. So this is, it is quite a long set of instructions. But the simple thing to understand here is that we, as a kind of baseline expectation, we of course do expect our candidates to have rich lives outside of the classroom, right? But the important thing to understand is we are not really primarily interested in hearing you talk about what you've done, because we can see that from, let's say, your CCA records, right? Rather, in the 350 words that you have, we really would like you to, again, signal that you've given some thought to these activities, right? This is why we're actually asking you, okay, don't just list the activities that you've completed, right? If you do so, sure, we will know that you've done X, Y, and Z, right? But we will have no evidence that you've actually thought about these activities, right? Now, what kind of thinking do we want you to do? As the title of this section suggests, we actually want you to reflect on these activities. Reflection is obviously a kind of very commonplace word, so because of that, it can seem very nebulous. But if you read the instructions carefully, it does tell you what kind of reflective thinking we're looking for. So for example, it tells you, okay, great, you probably have done multiple activities, but in the space that you have, please connect some, doesn't have to be all, some of these activities, right? Please connect them in order to show us something interesting that you've learned through these activities, and please do it in a very specific and a very reasoned way, right? So that's really what we're looking for in these two sections, right? I guess maybe what I'll do is finally leave you with a couple of more general pieces of advice, right? So one is, the written application is obviously your opportunity to give us a strong first impression. We are looking for interesting, distinctive individuals, right? So if you do provide us with a very generic response, especially something that's sort of AI generated, then that's really, you're not doing yourself any favors, okay? The second thing, in terms of a general piece of advice about how to approach a written application is, I would urge you to really think about your two responses and to spend a little bit of time just crafting the responses, right? The questions are known to you in advance. You can look them up. So just make use of the time that's afforded to you, right? The writing should be showing off your personality and the way you think. It's not meant to be just you reporting on what you've done, right? So the more time you can actually put into actually crafting some responses, it probably will give us a kind of stronger impression of who you are. Okay, let me leave it there for now.
All right. Thanks so much for sharing, and I hope that was helpful. And you know what? I think the rain must be getting into me. I totally forgot to bring Lavanya back on screen. Okay, so it's definitely the rain. Okay, so now without further ado, I am gonna invite Lavanya back. And then she will share her story. Like I mentioned, she's our ambassador, and she'll just let you have a feel of what she's been doing, what she's been up to, maybe her plans as well. Okay, so over to you, Lavanya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Winnie. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone for coming down today and spending some time with us. Now, I'll be sharing more about my time here at NUS College. So, I'm currently in my second semester of year two. So, I've completed 3 semesters here. And prior to coming to NUS College, I was actually from National Junior College, and my subject combination was physics, chemistry, mathematics, and economics. So, it was the typical STEM student combination. And some of my CCAs included softball, interact club, and council. And a hobby of mine was dancing. So, I used to spend a lot of time dancing within my college as well as outside. Yep. So, um, sorry, just a second. So I had a few concerns before I joined NUS College, and the first one was time. So with the additional workload that NUS College brings upon us, I was actually a bit worried, like around the fact that would I still have time for my hobbies, especially dance, and additionally, I also was a bit more concerned about friends because I didn't really have anyone from my class or from my social circle coming into NUS College. So I was worried about being able to fit in and making new friends. And lastly, my biggest concern was whether I was truly suited for this. Because as a STEM student, I felt that the NUS College curriculum may not entirely be for me because I didn't have much exposure into the humanities. So I was worried about how I would be able to cope and how I would react to the interdisciplinary education. But ultimately, I decided to join NUSC, and this is for 4 major reasons. The first one is because of the extensive access to global pathways. Like Winnie mentioned in her previous presentation, we have many programs that allow students to go outside of Singapore and experience culture in another country or another city. And some of the examples are the Global Impact Experience as well as the exchange programs. And I think global experience is something that I truly value a lot, which is what led me to apply for NUS College. Secondly, is the vibrant student and community life. So when I came over to the open house during my year of application, I found out that there's actually a wide range of interest groups that are available in NUS College for me to take part in. So one of them is a dance interest group, which really attracted me. And on top of that, there are also many smaller communities for sport or even like academic interests that I could take part in. And I think this is what truly attracted me to come to NUS College because I was rest assured that I'll be able to pursue other interests outside of my academics. Thirdly was the interdisciplinary education. I was quite attracted by the fact that I could try courses in different academic streams while also still keeping my major in engineering. And because I also knew that I would have a little bit more autonomy over the topics that I get to learn about, since I get to choose the courses that I'll be taking at NUS College, I was quite attracted to come over. And lastly was the amazing staff and faculty students that I met. So when I came over at the open house, I actually had the opportunity to interact with some of the alumni, the seniors, and the faculty staff. And it was really nice to see how welcoming and supportive they were. And on top of that, once I actually came into NUS College, there was actually a very warm and friendly environment here. And this were like the reasons that I chose to come to NUS College. So while applying, the first portion of my application was actually the written assessment. And during the written assessment, we had mine was actually slightly different from this year. We had a few short answer questions as well as an essay question. So while I was attempting these written assessments, I actually forced myself to truly introspect and reflect into the activities that I've taken part previously and how they have shaped my personality and my experiences. And I tried to show as much reflection as I could so I could bring out my personality a bit more. On top of that, I also tried to showcase my passion and interest both in my academics as well as my non-academics so I could show the admissions committee a little bit more about myself. Moving on was my interview. For my interview, I actually did not know what to expect and I was quite nervous, especially because I am the second batch of NUS College students. So there wasn't much information that I could find online as well. So this actually led to a lot of anxiety. But to prepare, what I did was that I read up a lot on current affairs as well as a lot more about the NUS College curriculum so that I could understand how the NUS College curriculum can actually benefit me and what is my true motivation for joining NUS College. And one suggestion that I have is to just be well read and stay calm during your interview and just be genuine. Yeah. So now, after coming into NUS College, I am a chemical engineering and management major. And some of the activities that I take part here at NUS College would be being part of the house committee, as well as being in the dance interest group as a committee member, and being in the NUS College Cup Academics Life Cell. And on top of this, I'm also in the varsity dance CCA of NUS for called the Hoppers Dance Group. So I just want to take this moment to let the students that are intending to come to NUS College know that while there's an additional academic rigor here at NUS College, you still have plenty of time to pursue your interests outside. So yeah. And now I'll be talking a little bit more about my community life here at NUS College. So a huge part of my student life here is my house. So I'm part of the Pixis and Everett house. And what houses are is that we basically have 12 houses here at NUS College, and they're a smaller community within NUS College for you to bond with and get to know. So for every house, we actually have different house events as well as things like house election, house parties, and more for you to take part in and just de-stress throughout your journey here at NUS College. So for me, I was actually part of the house committee. So the bottom three pictures are pictures of my house committee, and we were actually very bonded and we had a lot of fun planning events for our house members throughout the year. So some examples of the events are on top, where we actually had a samyang noodle eating challenge, we had an acai party, and we also had a birthday party for our mascot, where we got our alumni to come down. And it was really nice to have a few generation of NUS College students come down and interact with each other. Yeah. Moving on, another huge part of my student life here was my floor. So when you come in, you will be staying with us on campus for 2 years. And during this time, you'll be staying together with a lot of your friends. So a lot of your time will be spent interacting with those that stay on the same floor as you. And I was really grateful to have very warm and welcoming students stay with me. So throughout my first year, I was on the 20th floor in our cinnamon wing. And my floor was actually pretty active. We had many floor events, which included birthday parties, acai parties, and even more. And sometimes, as you can see on the top right corner, we would just chat on like the bay window of our floor. So when I'll be coming back from class, I'll just see a bunch of my girls like sitting down and we would just like gather and have a chit chat. And I think this was really nice because I always had someone around me on my floor that I could go to if I needed help or if I just wanted to take a break and de-stress. Yeah. Next is also the friends I've made along the way. So in NUS College, I actually had multiple opportunities or multiple areas where I could make friends. So it could be like the courses that I've taken, or just while I was sitting in the dining hall, someone would walk up and strike a conversation. And I'm really grateful that the people here at NUS College are so warm, open, and friendly because it really eased me into the environment here and allowed me to have a really nice student life. Next, I will spend a little bit of time talking on my academic life. So one of the first few courses that I took here at NUS College was a Thinking with Writing course. And this course, the theme that I took was called Absences. And during this course, what we do is that we cover a lot of critical thinking and writing skills. And this course actually shaped my understanding of how I should approach academic writing for the next 4 years here at NUS and NUS College. And I particularly enjoyed this course because I got to talk about a lot of concepts that I normally wouldn't talk about. So for me, my course was centered around metaphysics behind absences. So we spoke a lot about physical absences, such as like the absence of light, which causes the creation of shadows. And throughout our course, the focus was mainly on physical absences. But when it came to my final paper, I actually wanted to do something a little bit more intangible and talk about non-physical absence. So just a quick summary, my final paper was done on law, on the topic of omissions, where it is the absence of action. And even though this wasn't a physical absence, my professor actually encouraged me to take on this project and actually helped me throughout my process of writing my final paper. And I really liked this encouragement from my professor because it made me feel like I had a little bit more autonomy in terms of how I approach my assignments here at NUS College. And on top of that, my professor actually included the portion of omissions into the syllabus from there onwards. And I felt like this really was something that I valued a lot because it showed that there was some collaboration between the professors and the students. And I think that's something that I really value in my academic journey. Moving on, there was another course I took called Understanding the Social World and Beyond. And during this course, what we learned is about different social concepts and the social hemisphere in Singapore. So for the final project of this module, what we had to do was we had to pick a site to visit and we had to analyze how people would behave at that site and come up with a short video for the site. So for me, I chose to do busking in Orchard. So I spent quite a few of my nights looking at buskers who were performing as well as the audience. And I think this was a very interesting experience because the assessment form is quite unconventional to like make a video. And I felt like this really taught me how to take my learning outside the classroom and how I can apply concepts outside just the classroom and in real life. And I think this is something that I truly value about NUS College because the mode of assessment is quite unorthodox. And it's something that I think has taught me a lot more than just a pen and paper assignment. Yeah. And then next, we have Global Narratives, which is a more literature based course. And honestly, I was very terrified before I entered this course because I'm someone that has almost no experience in literature. But I remember speaking to my professor about it, and he truly eased all the students who didn't have much experience with literature into the course. So he actually did a survey before we started our course to understand where we stand in terms of our exposure to literature, and he really gave us a few like objective criteria and objective methods to answer to or to respond to a literature reading that we had. So for those who are worried that you wouldn't be able to cope with the humanities or like with certain subjects that you've never been exposed to, I would like to rest assure all of you that the professors here are very well equipped in helping to onboard students onto subjects that they may have never experienced before. So as part of this project, I actually got to do quite a few unique things. So one of them was to visit the NUS Museum and pick a painting to write about. And on the right-hand side of my screen is actually a comic that I had to do up for my final assessment. So these are just some very interesting ways that NUS College allows us to apply the concepts that we learn and assess us through these ways. Lastly, I would say the highlight of my academic life would be the Impact Experience Project. So my Impact Experience Project is done in a city in Indonesia called Malang, which is near Surabaya. And the concept of our project is to conserve heritage through digitalization. So this project is something that has contributed very meaningfully to me because I got the opportunity to visit Malang as well as work with university students from a university in Malang. And I found this project to be very interesting because for my group, we actually had never really heard much about Malang prior to this trip. So being able to go over to understand more about this beautiful city and to understand how people live there, how their culture has shaped their daily life practices, as well as how the demographic of the city looked like. It was something that was very interesting for me. And some highlights of my trip were visiting multiple cafes because coffee is a huge part of Indonesian culture, as well as some mountains and volcanoes. So yeah, if you do intend to come to NUS College, I would say Impact Experience Project is something that you can definitely look out for. Yeah, so my takeaways from my time here at NUS College have firstly been a widened perspective. So because I'm living on campus with the students, and quite a lot of the students are actually from international communities, I get a lot of time to interact with people that are from diverse walks of life. And so I get to learn a lot more about how things work where they're from, as well as certain perspectives that they bring to me. On top of this, because I've gotten many opportunities to go outside of Singapore and interact with communities outside, I actually get to learn a lot more about the different cultures around the world, and this definitely helps me broaden my horizons. Next is the play hard and work hard spirit. At NUS College, I finally was able to learn that it's possible to have a lot of fun while fulfilling my academic responsibilities. So I'm very grateful that the projects here just go beyond the classroom and allow me to go into the real world, look at things like how buskers are behaving, and create videos for my assignments because they bring a lot of fun into the academic life. And on top of that, being able to take part in interest groups as well as other interest areas while also being able to pursue my academics is something that I really value a lot. Lastly, would be all my learnings that I learned from community living, as well as a lot of self-discovery. So because we stay on campus for at least 2 years, being able to live together with others teaches you how to be a lot more respectful and considerate. And I feel like living together with a bunch of people also makes you grow as a person. And lastly, the self-discovery that I've gotten through the modules and activities here has taught me a lot more about my interests and has also shown me a few new career paths that I could take on. And I don't think that I would have discovered these career paths if I hadn't had these exposures in NUS College. And with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
We're going to address some of the questions that we've received. And just before I go into that, there is a question from Haley about scholarships. So her question is that, can we apply for NUS College scholarships if we're only prospective students and not already students at NUS College? And what does it mean by application? Okay, so I just want to talk about this. So all of you who apply with NUS, okay, the university, you will be automatically assessed for scholarships, okay? And unless your faculty, like for example, Lavanya is from CDE, so unless they get in touch with her and say that there is a further thing that they need to submit documents or go to a specific website to do something, like for us, I mentioned about the NUS College IS Scholarship, International Student Scholarship. We will send you a link and say, could you complete this within this time? Okay, then you need to work further, to act further, but otherwise there's no further action required. Okay, but of course I also have to say that that's on the paperwork side, but some scholarships may require you to go through further interviews, okay, because that's further into the selection process. So then you may need to appear at a location for your interview, and then it'll be communicated to you if you have got, if you're awarded the scholarship. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So once again, typically not too many things to do, but if you are being invited to apply from our end, from NUS College, you will be contacted. So make sure in your application form, I think you can put both yours as well as an alternate email, especially for the guys who are serving NS, protecting us. Thank you very much. But because you won't be accessing your emails during the week, so you may want to put your family member or your girlfriend or your girlfriend's email in there so you can be alerted on time. Okay. All right. So we're going to go into the Q&A now. So I got that answered, and then I would like to go to, we've covered the written part. Okay. So now then I would like to address on the interview section. So I think I would like to invite Ita on what do actually interviewers look for, and have you got any advice? I'm sure you've got plenty of advice. So go ahead. Over to you.
Okay, thanks, Winnie. So as I think Winnie may have covered some of this just now, right? So if you do get invited for an interview, it will last between 20 to 25 minutes. You'll be interviewed by two people who will be NUSC faculty or someone from the admissions office or alumni. And really, the interview is another opportunity for us to get to know you, right? In addition to everything we've already known about you from your academic record and from your written statements, right? So we really want to take this opportunity to know, what matters to you, what you are passionate about, and what you hope to get out of your undergraduate education. And ultimately, what we're assessing by having this conversation with you is, are you someone who's excited by and will benefit from, the formal curriculum, the opportunities that you will get here, the residential life that you'll have, right? So having said that, I think the big thing that I would tell everybody who's maybe nervous about the interview, which is natural, is that we're not really looking for any ideal or perfect answers. There is no golden answer that you can say that will ding, 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 get you in. Right. And in fact, more likely than not, in the course of the conversation, your interviewers may ask you to consider the issues that you care about from a new perspective, maybe something that you haven't thought about before. Or maybe they'll give you new information that you're not familiar with, or that maybe may force you to question some of the assumptions that you already have, right? And I understand that this is uncomfortable, but really, again, in that situation, we're not looking for you to give us a right answer about anything. We're looking to see how you respond, right? Because I think you can tell, like, if you, for example, listen to Lavanya's presentation, right? This is the education that we do at NUSC, right? We do push you to do things that maybe are a little bit out of your comfort zone, right? If you're a STEM student, we will ask you to read literature and philosophy. So we're really looking for a candidate in those situations to want to be in those kinds of conversations with us, right? And to respond to us, right? And I think that may be a bit vague, but really, I would say talk about the things that matter to you, and really try to respond with, you know, the provocations that your interviewers will give you. So, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. I know that Lavanya did talk about her preparations during her presentation. I'd like to invite Hazel. Hazel, can you share about the actual interview? Because I think, you know, different personality, different people have different outcomes and experience. Could you share on yours, please?
Yeah. So the actual interview for me was unexpectedly lighthearted and conversational. I expected it to be a bit more like, you know, like they're assessing me and they're doing this one-sided thing where they're trying to evaluate my strengths and weaknesses kind of thing. But it actually felt like it was it went really well. So my interviewers were genuinely eager to discuss my interests in business and technology and how those could fuel my contributions to the NUSC community. So overall, it felt like a dynamic exchange of perspectives. And I guess in terms of challenges during the actual interview, it will be articulating myself succinctly, as Prof. Loh mentioned just now. It's to really to stand a good chance of getting into NUSC, the way you think must be articulated very clearly. And how I overcame this was to keep track of what key points I wanted to cover and avoiding rambling during the interview.
All right, that's good. Just a reminder that Lavanya and Hazel went through the face-to-face, but that was much shorter. I think they only had about 15 minutes. So this year we've extended to about 20 to 25 minutes on campus. And Lavanya, your experience, I think it's very different.
Actually, I would say my experience was quite similar in the sense that the conversation during my interview felt more like a discussion as well. And I was also posed many questions that truly nudged me to think critically. One thing that I think was a bit different was that the interviewers were quite interested in some of the research projects that I had done before. So majority of my interview was actually centered around my research projects and how I could actually use my either the products that I have made or the learnings from my research projects to like further in the future. So one of the questions that I had was to like identify a marginal community that will benefit from my research and how I would scale the solution to help them. So initially I was quite stunned by the question because it's not a question that I've been asked before. So I did ask the interviewers for some time to be able to think about my response. And when I responded, I think they found a few issues in my response, which did scare me. But what I was very grateful for was that instead of faulting me, they just pointed it out and gave me some time to really think about it and rectify it. So I just want to say that I think the interviews are very welcoming and don't take it as they're trying to assess you and try to find your weaknesses. But I think rather they're just trying to help you gain more perspective as well as understand the perspectives that you have to offer. Yeah.
Right, fantastic. And talking about interviews, we do have a question on early admissions dates. Yes, typically these interview dates will be slightly earlier. At this point, we're looking to start our interviews for the next cohort. We intend to start in February. So you should be, those who are shortlisted under the early admissions should be getting your email, say, slightly after Chinese New Year, and you'll be invited to come down in February. So let you know that we are having interviews in February, March, April, And then and we do have for the international students as well, a little bit extended all the way till July even. So that's the kind of timeline that we're looking at. And of course, I think for the decision, because I just like to explain a little bit further. So once we've processed your application, and come and invited you to do the rest of the segments, the decision will be communicated back to the admissions office, the OAM, and then they will communicate with you directly and let you know which major you have been selected, you're successfully applied to. Okay, so that you should be getting that letter maybe for the normal applications. You should be getting maybe sometime in end April to beginning of May. So from then onwards, so the decisions will be out from end of April to early May, and thereafter it could go on all the way till July. Okay, so I hope this is clear, and we have got quite not too much time, but I want to bring the faculty members here because we talk about that we have students from different backgrounds, and 61 majors are compatible with us. You know, majors like music and pharmaceutical science, and then we've got law students, etc. So from the teaching perspective, how does it differ, NUS and NUSC? Anybody wants to take a jab?
Sure. I'll go. Well, in a word, it's more challenging for me. So I actually have to work harder to earn my salary. So I guess just in terms of background, my training is in literature. So as you might imagine, it's probably a little bit more traditional. It would have been more traditional for me to teach in a department of English, right? So if we do imagine me teaching in a department of English at NUS, that would mean that I would primarily be teaching English majors, right? Of course, sometimes classes will also have students from other backgrounds, other faculties, right? But for the most part, an English, a class in English literature in the Department of English would have a much more homogeneous student population. In the NUSC classroom, that would not be the case, right? I would be trying to teach literary studies to possibly a fourth-year English major who therefore would probably have a different kind of knowledge than, let's say, the other student that might be in my class might be a first semester engineering student, right? So the classroom is very diverse, and therefore, in a way, it is very challenging. But of course, we try to turn the challenge into a plus, and actually it is, right? So in a classroom like that, certainly from the point of view of being a teacher, I therefore have to a lot of times leave certain assumptions behind. I have to think about teaching the material both to in ways that would be both accessible to students who do not have a prior background, but I also have to try to teach it in a way that would remain challenging for the students who actually already know a lot about this. So it is actually a constant challenge, but it keeps me on my toes. One way in which I try to meet that challenge, and I think I would not be alone in this, is that a lot of times we actually try to turn some of that responsibility over to the students. So I think in a lot of NUSC classrooms, a lot of the learning goes on between students, right? So if I don't actually know anything about physics, I usually will have a student who does. And much to the surprise of that student, they might have to assume the responsibility of explaining a difficult concept in physics to the class, right? But that's actually meant to be a good thing. And it actually speaks a little bit to the kind of collaborative learning that tends to happen a little bit more in the interdisciplinary classroom that is NUSC. So I think that's one way it would be different. See, do you have anything to add? Yeah.
No, I think that is a lot of it. I have to say, it's a little bit different. I'm a historian of science, and if I was teaching in a history department, I would be teaching history majors. But specifically, the core curriculum class I'm teaching, Science and Society, I do teach in a class where, I have STEM majors who are very familiar, and they're like, oh, I've come home, I know what science is. And then there are other groups that they have a phobia. That's the best way to describe it. They feel a phobia, right? And I agree with Manhao. Actually, my students are my greatest resource. because they talk to each other, right? And the STEM students do ask questions that the non-STEM students wouldn't ask. And that's what's so exciting, I think, about being, in this community. Yeah.
Thank you. And how about the students from your perspective now? How different are our students compared to the ones that you see back in your degree-bearing faculty? Hazel, Lavanya?
I think NUSC students are very resourceful and they are very curious to explore outside of their major, even if it's something that they have not previously touched. They will still be willing to step into the classroom and engage in that very in-depth discussion. And another point is that I think NUSC students know how to work hard and play hard. So to them, grades aren't everything, and they're willing to, expand their horizons beyond their degree-bearing faculty to learn something new. And they are very committed to causes that they are passionate about. So I've seen many of my friends who are running ground-up initiatives in NUSC or even student interest groups to get the wider NUSC community involved. So for example, NUSC confectionery for baking and NUSC paper boxes for students to serve and prepare meals alongside the dining hall staff. So I think these are all very creative and refreshing initiatives and projects. And it really reflects not only the diversity of the NUSC community, but also, their resourcefulness and their willingness to innovate and think out of the box.
Thank you.
I think to add on, what I treasure the most when I interact with my peers from NUS College would definitely be the perspectives that they provide. So if I was just in College of Design and Engineering, I would be surrounded by a lot of engineers. So when it comes to like a particular issue, I am more likely to just get perspectives from someone who is in the engineering field. But now that I'm in NUS College, so I get to interact with students that are doing like political science or law. And because of that, they have very different perspectives from what I have as a STEM major. And so it's very nice to be able to be in the same courses as these students because I get to understand and learn more about different perspectives on the same issue. So one example that I very clearly remember was when I was actually struggling with my NTW, which is my thinking with writing course. And I didn't know how to like frame my argument in a way that it is comprehensive. So I remember going into my floor lounge and just discussing with one friend of mine about the issue that I was facing. And I remember towards the end of it, there was at least like 12 of us in the floor lounge, everyone providing different perspectives. Someone was telling me, wait, no, you can't say this because politically this wouldn't fit right. Or someone telling me how my solution to the issue that I was facing would affect marginalized communities in the gendered space. So I think it was very nice to be able to have all of these perspectives all at once because it really allows you to grow as an individual. Yeah.
Thank you. There are a couple of questions. I know that the concept, the NUSC concept is a bit difficult to understand, especially if you've never interacted with us. So I see that from the Q&A section. So I'm going to do it in a very summarize it very quickly. So what you do is that you need to be an undergrad student of NUS. So that means you must apply. When you apply, you must apply with NUS to do your degree. And at the same time, put in your application to be a student of ours. So you can go through the selection process. Now you will be doing your degree. You'll be pursuing your degree in say biology and in computer engineering and CS in the degree-bearing faculty of NUS. And then at the same time, you will be doing STEM and humanities courses at NUS College, okay? So these two, when you combine, it should come up to 40 courses within that 4 years. And of course, in NUS College curriculum, we have certain components that you must complete in order to graduate and get our program cert. So if you complete all these, 4 years later, you will get a degree from your degree-bearing faculty, let's say just Bachelor of Science in engineering, electrical engineering, and then you get our NUS College program cert, okay? And if you actually do a double degree, then you get your second degree from the school, the university, either Sciences Po or Waseda, all right? So So I hope this kind of explains in a very a simplistic way. If you want to know what we do, how do we do that, please, I encourage you to go to our website. There's an FAQ, go read through that. There are wonderful information resources on our website. And if I could get someone to put the our link onto the chat group in the chat, just go there. And then we have some other events as well. So I hope this is clear. But one thing is that you do not really need to pay anything extra. You will be paying the fare of your degree-bearing faculty. So for example, I think business is about 10,000 per year, right? Law, I think, is a little bit more. So you don't pay anything extra for the classes that you attend at NUS College. However, because there is the residential component, you need to stay 2 years. So each year at today's rate, that includes lodging and breakfast and dinner plan from Monday to Saturday that for the semester. So 2 semesters. During the breaks, you are likely to be asked to vacate a room unless you're international students. So given 2 semesters per year for 2 years at today's rate, it is approximately about 17,000 Sing dollars. Okay, that's just a ballpark. More of this information are definitely on our website, and do note that these fees do get adjusted, may be adjusted. Okay, so I really, really hope that this helps. And does it disadvantage or does it give you an advantage by applying with NUS College? No, I wouldn't say so. If this is really something not your cup of tea, then please apply with NUS and do your degree there. But should you apply with us and this is something that interests you, you want to make that lasting impact on the community, and however, unfortunately, you are not successful, you will not get a demerit point for applying with us and not being successful. Okay, your application goes back to OAM, and they will assess you together with the rest of the applicants who didn't apply with us. Okay, so I would say no fear. If this is really something that you want to pursue, go right on. And because as you can see that Lavanya and Hazel came from different backgrounds, just like our profs. And also one note that I put here, we do have peer mentors that's been assigned to you. Okay, at your year, just before you enter year 1. So these peer mentors are senior students who are probably in the major that you're going into, and they will actually try to help you to plan your 4 years journey at NUS to say that which course you should do when, so you don't kill yourself by doing 2 or 3 courses that is super intense. All right, so we have all kinds of support available to our students right there. Yeah, so I think, like I said, please go to our website and take a look at what the resources that we've got. I'm going to share my screen, and if you could just remember to whip up your phone or do a screen grab. Okay, so this is the thing that I talked about. Okay, so this is the events. We do have our on our events. We do have upcoming events. Now today is the final admissions tips, and this is our series of webinars that we've been holding every year. And then the next event is actually on campus. I didn't mention this is with CHS. So those of you who are interested to pursue a degree with the College of Humanities and Sciences, this is the best time. Do go to our website, the events page. You can also scan that QR code. It will lead you to that, and look through. Okay, all the events there. On this day, it will start at about 9 o'clock. It'll be a half-day event. We may be invited to go and attend a sample class, or you could be meeting our ambassadors and they'll bring you around the campus, showing you where they stay, what our class is, what our dining room is. And of course, this is hot from the oven, fresh, very hot open house. So the on-campus open house is on the 8th of March, it's a Saturday, and NUS College, our talks will be held on the 3rd of March. Okay, so details will be shared later on. So, but do take note of these dates that we've got. And then, like I mentioned, if you have questions, our website, FAQ, plenty of information there for you. But if after all these, and you still have questions, do contact us. This is right at the end of our page. There's a contact us. Click on and say that this is a admissions question. We will be able to answer questions related to admissions at NUS College. If it's related to your degree-bearing faculty, please have them addressed by Office of Admissions, which is Ask Admissions, if we could have that link there. So here is the QR code if you want to join our mailing list and get a deck of the slides. So I hope this is helpful. I'm going to go back to our speakers for one final round for wrap up.
Sure, I'll start. I think I will acknowledge, that it's maybe a kind of intimidating time if you're trying to apply for university positions, because there's a lot of information out there. And maybe the presentation today, in a way, maybe didn't even help because you got a lot of information. I guess ultimately what I can try to offer you is to encourage you to really think about really just kind of one question, like, okay, is NUSC the right program for me? Right? Is it what I want? Right? And if you think about that, and if you, it is going to still entail you doing a lot of targeted information gathering, right? So when you look at the website, you should be looking at, okay, what are the features of the NUSC curriculum? Is this what I want? But to me, the underlying and recurring question should really continue to be, is this the right program for me? And in a way, that's really a question that only you can answer. So good luck with that.
Very good. Is there anyone who wants to have a closing statement?
So as a student, I feel like if you really value interdisciplinary education and you want to try out different things alongside your main course or your main major, NUS College would definitely be the place for you. And if you're still a bit more worried about whether NUS College is still the place for you and maybe the website's still not giving you a clear idea, I would really heavily suggest that you come down for either open house or the CHS meet and greet, because you will get a chance to read up on the courses and even take part and sit in some trial taster sessions. So I think that will really give you some more clarity on whether NUS College is the place for you. So yeah, I hope to see you at the outreach event.
Lovely. Okay. Anyone else? One closing statement? If not, it'll be my turn. No one? Tishai? Okay. Okay. So for my 5 seconds fame, okay, airtime. For me, like Lavanya says, come on down and see us. Because I do see on the Q&A, oh, I'm not interested in CHS, but can I still come? Obviously. So go to our website, events page, go and see, because we have it on Eventbrite, but you may not find it. Just go to our NUS College events page, go and see where is that link. Come and join us, okay? Register, but as long as we have space, we're most happy to have you on campus. Tell your friends, tell your families, and we would love to contact. And if you're a parent or a school counselor, we'd love to connect with you, as well as we'd like to connect with the PSG group. And of course, students, talk to your counselors if they haven't spoken about us. Tell them that, we're happy to host your school for learning journeys, etc. And of course, like I said, do think about this. Application is already open. It will close sometime in February for most qualifications except for A-levels. And think it through. Go look us up, talk to us, and submit if this is your jam. Okay. And with that, I'm going to end today's session. It's 3:13. Raining very heavily outside. I'm gonna go for that. And Alfred, I realize that you've been raising your hand. I hope if you have got further questions, maybe you can contact us through that ask us on our website. Okay. All right. With that, we're gonna say goodbye. Thanks so much for spending time with us. Bye-bye. See you.